Hello, I'm Shawnee and welcome to this brief computer basics class. Today we're going to go over a few simple things to do with Windows 10. So I'm just going to go over a few terms that you might have heard before. So desktop, settings, let's see, devices, internet browser, Microsoft Word. Okay, so let's start with this one right up here, desktop. So what is the desktop? Now, the desktop is the first screen you see when you turn on your computer. So this big old blue screen I've got right here in front of me. You would see your icons on it for your various apps or programs. Likely these are shortcuts, so that's another term to add. Let's add that one, shortcuts. Desktop is the main computer screen. Okay? Now, shortcuts, these are, as they sound, they are shortcuts to your apps or programs, and these typically live on your desktop. Over here on the left, you can see I have 5 icons here, and they all have this little white arrow in the corner. Okay, so this little white arrow here is to indicate that this is a shortcut. Shortcuts are another way to open your apps/programs. Okay? Settings. So settings are a very important part of Microsoft 10. So down here you have your start menu all the way down here in the corner. So we'll click on that. And this brings up your menu. And what we're looking for is this here just above the power button where you would use that to shut down. Anytime you put your mouse on something, it will pop up with a little label like it has here to say what it is. So let's click on settings. And I'm just going to make this bigger for us. So settings, we have a variety of options here. You have system. So this is where you would go to mess around with your sound, how long you want your screen to stay lit before it falls asleep after inactivity, so when you haven't been using it. So let's investigate that a little bit. So right now we're on the display menu, and you have your options here on the left. Now if we want to play with the battery or the power and sleep, so say you are doing something like reading a book on your computer, but if you're doing it with the battery and you're a bit of a slow reader, then the screen keeps turning off. So how we've got it set here is it turns itself off after 5 minutes of nothing happening. So if you're just sitting there reading but you're not touching the mouse or anything, it will think no one is there and shut itself off. So if you change that menu to be anything you want, anything that works for you, and you'll have a little more time. It saves automatically, so there's no extra buttons you have to push. Okay? So give that a try, and then we'll go on. Be sure to pause this video so that way you can kind of play around before we move on. Okay? So now we're going to go back over here to Home at the top of this menu on the left to get back to the settings. Okay, so in devices, this is where things like your mouse, your printers would live, and anything else you tried to connect to your computer. In my case, there's some other devices coming up, like someone's nicknamed their cell phone. The headset I'm using right now is here. If we had any printers, they would come up here under printers once they've been installed. And this is where you would come in to say if you wanted to look into a bit more detail about the printers. So you just click on them, and then you could click manage. And if your printer was actually a printer and not like this thing, you would have a button right here that would say set as default, and that just means it makes it the printer that your computer would go to all the time. Okay, so you can explore that a little bit if you like. Pause this video and take a look around in your device settings and come back to the video to continue. Okay, welcome back. So now let's go back to the home screen. Okay, and anything about your Wi-Fi connections will be under Network and Internet. So let's go into there and have a look. So right now I'm connected at the public library, so it's saying everything's fine. I've got a straight line here. I'm connected to the internet, so there'd be some internet information here if you needed to know it. Okay, if you're having trouble connecting to the internet, a good option to try is to come into this menu, your network and internet, and click on this here, the network troubleshooter. Follow the prompts along and it will help you just kind of figure out what might be going wrong with your network. And it also helps you to give you some words to say to your internet provider, Bell, Cogeco, ExploreNet, whoever, when they ask you, okay, what's going on with your internet? Alright, so feel free to look around here a little bit if you like, and then you can join us again to go back into the settings. When you're ready, just click on Home, and you'll go back. Now this is the fun one, Personalization. So personalization is just as it sounds. You are personalizing your computer, so you can set a different picture to be the background on your desktop, and it gives you a little preview of what that looks like this right here. Okay, you can also set it to be a solid color or a slideshow. So you don't have to just pick from the pictures that they have here. So they give you a few generic options. But you can also click Browse, and this will let you go into your documents, into your pictures. And if we go over and click on Pictures over here on the left-hand side. Now, I don't have any pictures in here, but if you did on your computer, you could pick a folder and pick a whole bunch of pictures and set it as a slideshow, and it would just rotate through those pictures. So let's see, if we went Slideshow. So if we had any pictures, it would start grabbing those pictures from that particular place and would change the picture every 30 minutes. And then it would just keep going. Now it says here, allow slideshow when on battery power. So when you're not plugged in anywhere, this is turned off, which is great for saving your battery. And if you need to see the pictures, you may as well go into your pictures file to have a look at them. Okay, so I'm just going to set this back to just a solid picture, and we're going to hop over here in the left menu to colors. So colors is it's as it says, an accent color, so you can pick a whole bunch of different colors. So they'll give you some recent ones and a whole bunch of different Windows colors, or you can make your own. It's fun just to personalize your computer and just make it feel more like it belongs to you and fits better with who you are. Okay, so feel free to play around with that, but you don't have to. Themes. Themes is a fun one. So themes gives you just a general, here's a package default thing that you can play around with, or that you can enjoy as part of your whole Windows experience. So you've got the generic one image, picture, default sound, default mouse cursor. It sets it as default blue, that's the color they call it. But you've got also these Windows 10 images, which pulls up a rotating thing of 5 images, and we've got colors. Or you've just got flowers here. Or you could click on Get More Themes in Microsoft Store, and that will let you go to, as it says, the Microsoft Store, and browse a few themes. Now most of them should be free, but just keep an eye out. Sometimes some themes end up with a few demands for money, and there's no point in paying for them. They've got some pretty nice ones without it. Okay, and if we go down here, Personalization, we click on Start. So it gives you a few options here. So this one that might help you. So if you're more used to Windows 7, this should be automatically turned off by now, but if it's not, use start full screen. So if I turn this on, okay, so that's on now, and I go down to the start menu, it's now going to take up my whole screen. So you see how the whole screen has gone kind of gray? Yeah, so this is a completely different way to use this. So if I click the start menu, that brings it out of it. And if I turn it back off, this will now make my menu over to the side again. Okay, so if that ever bothers you, you can always switch between them in the settings, and it's one of those really helpful little things. Alright, so let's move on. We're going to go back to the home screen of this section. Alright, and the last couple of places we're going to go is apps. So these are your programs. Now, you don't want to play in here too much, but there's a couple things that's good to know. So here's all of your different apps, and you can click on anything, and you could click uninstall. Now, this computer won't let me to uninstall anything, but yours at home will. It will probably ask you for permission to type a password, or it will just double check with you, like ding, and say, hey, are you sure you wanted to uninstall this? And you'll say yes. Now, if you want specific apps to do things for you, you'll want this menu over here on the left where it says default apps. And this sets like which apps you have that will be the specific one you want to do things. So email, choose a default. I don't have email on this computer, but you could, and you can tell your system which email service you want it to use. Maps, if you had a map app, that's a funny one, map app. If you had one, you could use it here. Music player, how you want to view photos. Paint's not really a great one for photo viewing, but I don't have anything else. Web browser, I don't recommend Internet Explorer ever. Internet Explorer is old, so if you have this as your browser default, please switch to something else. It is also a bit of a security issue. Internet Explorer is not protected in any way, so and is just considered out of date and a risk to use. Alright, so definitely if your internet browser is saying Internet Explorer is your default, definitely click on it and switch to something else. If you don't have anything else, there are some quick and easy other tutorials online that can help you guide you along. Okay, so the next we're going to do is we're going to get back out of here. We're going to click on Home. And one last place we're going to go is Update and Security. So to make sure that your computer works as well as it possibly can, you're going to want to make sure it is well updated. So this section is where you would check for those updates, okay? So there's always going to be a button here that says check for updates. Now mine just checked at 1:29 today, so I don't need to check again. But feel free to check for updates. You may have to leave your computer on for some time to get the updates through, but it's better to do that rather than not doing the updates at all. If you don't do the updates, you are putting your device at risk for security breaches and various attempts to hack into your system, and your computer does not work at its best. So it's like waking up at 2 a.m. and not being able to go back to sleep, and then you have to start your day and you don't get any coffee. Okay, so you don't want to do that. So let your computer do its updates, check for updates regularly. It's good for your device's health. Okay, so we're done looking at the settings now. So I'm going to just close it. So there's this little red X in the corner. I just click that and it's gone. Okay, so settings, where I go to change what I want about my computer and find updates. Okay, so settings are where you go to change what you want about your computer and where you find the updates. Devices, we talked about that. That was in settings as well. So internet browser, what is that? It's a bit of a mouthful. You might know it better as Google. Okay, so Google is a website. It is not actually a browser, but to get to Google, you need a car to get you on that Google highway. Okay, and the internet browser is that car, and it can be Firefox, like what we have over here. You may have seen Google Chrome before, and you may have heard of Microsoft Edge. Now, all three of those work well. Some are better at being concerned with your privacy and not saving your information versus others, but all of them have options that if you want to save passwords so you don't have to type them in over and over, you can do that. They are all very good systems. So let's see here. So an internet browser is the car you need to take you to the Google highway. Okay? So as long as you keep that in mind, that's what you need. And these can be Firefox, Google Chrome, or Microsoft Edge. Alright, so just highlight those for you just so you can have a good look at them. Okay, so that's that about Internet Explorers, Internet browsers. So we'll open one up real quick. Again, I'm using Firefox. So let's open her up. Alright, so my Firefox doesn't have a home screen, doesn't have anywhere it wants to go in particular. So I'm just here, so it automatically set up to search the web. I can click on that and it will take me anywhere I want if I type something in. So let's type in frog, just for a demonstration, and then hit enter on your keyboard. Take your time, there's no rush, okay? Pause the video if you need a moment or if your internet's running a little slow. So once you hit enter on your keyboard, you'll be brought into Google itself, and look at that, look at all the frogs. So many frogs. Okay, and it's just that simple. Alright. And that is a brief little thing at an internet browser. You've probably used it before, but didn't maybe have the term to use, okay? But you can also just call it Firefox, Google Chrome, or Edge, and many people will know what you're talking about. Our last topic today, after I close this screen, will be Microsoft Word. Now, you'll have heard of this, maybe have heard of this one. This is a program that is specifically owned by the Microsoft company, so the same company that has made Windows, made your computer program, computer software, the thing running your computer. Now, you don't have to use Microsoft Word. Microsoft Word does require a fee to use, but on Windows there is a program called WordPad, which, while it doesn't have all the features of Microsoft Word, it does have quite a few and is a very good basic word processor. It's free, you can print from it, you can make letters and documents, whatever you like. So just a brief overview of Microsoft Word. A document making program that requires a subscription fee to use. Now, you can buy copies of Microsoft Word at Staples or off Amazon or Best Buy, at anywhere selling electronics or software, but those are, and they are good. They will last you for quite a few years, but they do go out of date pretty fast. The more common option these days is a subscription fee model. Okay, so I'm just going to close this, and I've just been using WordPad to type in there. So for now, let's go over to the Start menu. Now, they like to hide WordPad on you, and you will go down here, so you can either click on this little bar here to scroll down, or you can use a little wheel on your mouse. It might be between your mouse buttons. You can can use that to go down, whatever you need to do to scroll down the list. And we want to keep going down, 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 down until we get to Windows Accessories. Now if we click on here, you'll get quite a few options. Like there's your calculator, that's helpful. We've got Notepad, which is a more very scaled down word processor or typing document making surface, so we tend to ignore that one. Down, down, down. Oh, there it is, WordPad. So you would just click once on there and it opens a brand new document for you. And now you can just go ahead and type. You can write a story, you can write a letter, you can write cards. You can have all sorts of fun with this, okay? So let's make this bigger. So I'm just making our print bigger up here with this menu. And now I can type, hello. Oops. Nice to meet you. So thank you for joining me for this video. I hope it was helpful. If you are looking for a more class-like environment, please check us out at Kawartha Lakes Public Library. We typically run our classes in the spring and fall. Our reference department will be able to help you out more with that, with getting an idea of when the next classes are, and can put you on a wait list. So that's all for now. Thank you for watching, and we hope to see you again next time.